Hello,
Morning.
love. So we had a bit of an emotional start to this recording. We've had to have our own individual meltdowns before coming on and recording live because I've lost the words.
Yeah, because the depth of the disgustingness that I am uncovering, and I know that you've been uncovering stuff, is really hard to bear. Because
Absolutely.
every bone in my body does not want this to be true. It's really uncomfortable to speak about it out loud. And just thanks for holding space for this, Karleen. Because I'm feeling intense grief and anger and despair. I would prefer answers to hiding in the shadows. I know that already, because I asked you to hold space for me and we recorded it last time and you held space for me as a friend, which is what I needed. A friend that would not lecture or therapize and say, how could you have been so stupid as to fall into a cult? How could you have been so stupid as to allow yourself to get hypnotized by twice weekly 20-minute hypnotherapy tracks? How could you have done that? You said you were awake. So I was really grateful for just being able to bring out the experience as best I can. And I know that I have already been told how upset and angry people are that I am speaking out about my personal experience and about what I feel must come out, because I do not feel that I deserve to hold other people's stuff and have it inserted into my mind, my psyche, my body, and to have that in PTSD in order to protect some very dubious goings on that I want answers to. So I understand that people are going to feel upset and that I am going to be taking the blame for some of this, which is something that I have not done this. I have not been the one to send out hypnotherapy tracks telling people things like, food and liquid is no longer going to be required on planet Earth because there is no future. It is not me that is writing fiction books at the foot of Glastonbury Tor called The Age of Anuni, because this vision has no author. It is the Anu way. It is not me that composed bullshit in 2012 and then spread it around the planet. It is me that is trying to find out what's happening on this planet, what happened to me from birth, what's happening to everyone from birth, and I will not fucking betray my children. I will not do that. I am a mother. I am not leaving them in this mess. So I get that people are going to be hurt. It's not me that's doing the hurting of people. I am the one finding out what the hell is going on in the bigger picture and this smaller picture of a giant earth cult with smaller cults in it. And let me just give my definition of cult. People being unknowingly recruited to join in with things that they do not know what is behind it. If somebody came to me and said, do you want hypnotherapy tracks so that you can bliss out and not notice there's a global genocide and you can reframe that as peace and love and harmony on this planet? Would I have said yes? No, I would have said no, but that wasn't specified to me. Would I have said yes to know that I am throwing my money and donating and sponsoring United Nations WEF goings on this planet, where it's not being made clear to me that that's what I am sponsoring and donating, when my own livelihood and ability to feed my children is reduced and removed? So excuse me for feeling angry and passionate, but I'm not ashamed of my emotions.
I was saying to you before we came on that unless we allow that, unless we allow the self-expression, everything is going to get put back under a carpet, right? Of, well, everyone's going through something. You know, let's just smooth over, gloss over. Don't be real. Don't be authentic. Don't actually express how you are feeling and what has happened and how you are actually dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. Because nobody wants that. Everybody wants to just be chummy.
Yeah.
Right. And get along. And don't say things that are going to upset people either, you know, because that's not very loving, is it? Doesn't matter if it's the truth or not. Truth of your experience.
Yeah.
So I praise you for your passion and your anger and your authenticity in your experience.
Yeah.
Not that you need my praise. You know?
I know what you're saying. I know you're just saying, I honor the fact that you're speaking about your experience. That's how I'm receiving what you're saying, Karleen. You're saying, let's be really straight here. This is the classic, on this planet, I've been told over and over again that things are happening to other people, like child abuse and sexual abuse, and that when the abused begins to speak out, they then become the one on trial. Energetically speaking, that what they are saying and that has come out of their mouth and what they've actually experienced and have the coherence and eloquence to speak about, despite pain and anger and dismay and disgust and despair, that what they are saying is now going to be reperspectivized, because somewhere along the line they must have made a mistake or brought it upon themselves. And that I've been hearing about on this planet since I was a child. Like, how does this happen to children and women or men when they go to try to express a bad thing was done to me? A bad thing has happened to me. And I am not going to accept this being reperspectivized. I'm going to stick to the truth of what I went through. And what I'm still, not even still, what I am at the beginning of recovery from, whilst the Killer Plague story was marketed and advertised to humanity in 2020 and everyone's livelihoods were trashed. So let's get back to this anyway. Right. I just want to say that some of the things I said there, again, are because I discovered in my investigations as to what has happened to me, a friend who had also been subjected to joining in with donating and sponsoring Oracle Girl Limited LLC, went on a thing called the Wayback Machine on the internet and sent me some links and said, OMFG, what the hell is this? Where she was really disturbed and I was really disturbed. where we found links of writings from 2012 from a forthcoming fiction book, you know, The Anu Way, supposedly written by Jacqueline Hobbs of Oracle Girl LLC, talking about no future. There's no future. And that what she says is not true or false, and it doesn't matter anyway. And nobody's going to have a body. And that's why food and liquid will no longer be needing to be consumed. What the actual hell is this? What is it that I'm reading? And why? And from 2012, am I finding reams and reams and reams of writing that when I looked at it, I felt like this sounds like a computer algorithm. This sounds like a collection of past spiritual paths or approaches. I don't even know how to describe it. An amalgamation of things that have ever happened on this planet, or maybe even didn't happen on this planet, that have been drawn together in countless links, detailing, by the way, although Jacqueline Hobbs is saying this, I'm even not a person, by the way. I'm not a person. So I'm not saying anything true or untrue. There isn't an author. There isn't a dreamer of the dream. There's no dream, by the way. And so I felt like, what am I seeing here? This looks like Chat GPT. This looks like a computer has gone in with an algorithm and just gone like this, like an algorithm's been set and a whole load of gobbledygook has come out. It's worse than word salad. I had a really good route in, made me feel very nauseous. It's very stressful to actually even look into this stuff because I just want answers. I want answers. I want to know who's written this stuff. Who has written this stuff, like, for real? And why is Jacqueline Hobbs the mouthpiece of it? Okay? Because don't get me wrong, I've got huge compassion here because I don't know what's been done to her or why she's saying things like that. Okay? These are the questions. I don't have answers. I am not like saying things with a full stop. Like, I want answers to these questions. And it's proving very difficult to get answers to these questions. And one of the most horrific ones I read was called The Umbilical Cord with Earth. The Umbilical Cord with Earth. But if people would like to see these links, I have kept these links and people can have a look at them if they want to reach out and ask to see these things as well. This is 2012 we're talking about.
So it's got a lot of a backstory that
Yeah,
most people probably aren't 100% aware of, or maybe they are or haven't read it in a perhaps, or investigated to the point you have.
yeah. I definitely feel that the major part for me was I need to understand what's happened to me. And I need to investigate who this person is or isn't, and is there any information, and why can't I find out as well? Why can't I find out? Why is this person, why is Jacqueline Hobbs very difficult to find out stuff about? But I did find out some stuff. You know, I found out she'd been at Cambridge doing a PhD and that it was in anthropology, and that the people she was working with were climate change scientists, people that knew how to do hypnosis, acting coaches. You know, it's like, don't get me wrong, people, this is not in a easy presentation because I've literally gone through soul-led to try to piece together the picture of what happened to me. So all of that's gone on. So it's like, hang on, I don't understand why you're interested in anthropological climate change when we know that that is the UN agenda to push that, sustainability goals. And the climate change agenda, which is, oh, it's the retarded human beings that have trashed the planet. You know, they need to sort of get their act together. It's like, this is an unacceptable falsity, distortion behind the cupboard stuff. And what really disturbed me when I was piecing things together was I also found, which again, I've got a link for, was I found old United Nations stuff that had come from Maurice Strong, which describes this era as the dream yuga, where we are not going to need bodies. We'll be so busy dreaming in the noosphere with our psyche hanging out in the clouds, and we're not going to need our food and liquid, as I saw on one of the Jacqueline Hobbs, well, what was attributed to Jacqueline Hobbs, what looked like computer speak, attributed to a female human called Jacqueline Hobbs or Jacqueline Fay Hobbs. And it's like, hang on, I'm finding a match here. So Maurice Strong and the UN are talking about the dream yuga and how they're going to do it and everything that's going on. And this is matching up with all this stuff that I found on links from 2012 on the Wayback Machine about that just basically sounds like an AI algorithm. I don't know how else to say it, you know? That's the truth of it. And, you know, I want answers. That's what I want. I want answers because I don't want, I don't want to be talking bullshit because someone's fed it into my head.
Yeah.
You know, that's just unacceptable. I mean, it's like, I don't really want to take a breath here. I want to press on because when I was meeting other people that were also, let's see if I can remember the phrase that Jacqueline uses, like benefiting from her work, okay? Again, I want to be really clear. Everyone I met, I really, really like and love. They're really, really lovely human beings. I don't understand like what's happened and now wanted. They're really nice human beings. And one really beautiful woman that I had a very limited, you know, communication with because I was starting to feel like this is all feeling really culty, because I had actually looked into cult abuse already years before. This is feeling really culty because we're not bringing our voices out, and if we do, someone else is shushing someone and doing what Jacqueline says, but it's just a purification. Go and listen to that track. Go and listen again. Go and spend 8 hours listening. And of course, Jacqueline would advise people to put these tracks on in the background as you go around your daily life. Leave it on for 8 hours. It doesn't matter if you can't hear it. Just leave it on. Just leave it on. So this is the bit I want to get to. This really cute, beautiful woman. Oh, I felt a real affinity with, you know. She'd said to me, hey, yeah, I really like her work because I've been looking into things on this planet and I was really into Scientology and I'd got really high up in Scientology. And I feel like this is the next step. Jacqueline's work. And again, I'm going to claim it. You know, I was all like, I know Jacqueline's work. Jacqueline's work. Isn't it great? We're all getting free. I had drunk the Kool-Aid. I couldn't say enough good about her. Everything I was accrediting to her, everything that was me was being accredited outwards. She's so beautiful. Look at her big brown eyes. She's so loving. I couldn't have done enough to sell the purification space on Oracle Girl LLC to people. I was fully indoctrinated into selling it. And no one asked me to sell it. I was praising and clapping and loving it up. I was sharing it wherever I went. Look what's happened now. There's been a donation to the People's Food and Farming Alliance, everyone. I couldn't do enough to praise her and honor her and write in with my gratitude. How amazing you are. Thanks so much for being here. We're so grateful. Lucky me, lucky us. I couldn't have done enough to lick ass and praise and worship at that altar. Right? So let's get back to this beautiful woman that said about Scientology. I didn't know what the F Scientology was. I'd heard it in the background on planet Earth. It was something that was uninteresting to me, like Freemasonry was uninteresting to me. It was something that big stars did in Hollywood. It's nothing to do with me. I'm just recording the film music for the big stars in Hollywood. What are you talking about? That's just bullshit, innit? Tom Cruise, John Travolta, it's just all made up anyway, innit? Oh dear, what did I find when I looked into that? Because when this woman said to me that she'd been interested in Scientology, this stuck in my system. And every day it was going, look into Scientology, look into Scientology, look into Scientology. Oh God, I can't be arsed. Okay, I'll look in. I started looking in and I looked in more and more and more. And for the last, well, I have spent thousands of hours listening to survivors of Scientology, children that were human trafficked into Scientology, grown adults that finally escaped Scientology. Right, I'm just going to pause and go back calmly. What I found out was that Scientology is actually the work of L. Ron Hubbard, a convicted felon, and it was brought into planet Earth or America or somewhere, first called Dianetics, a communication course. Learn how to communicate better. Have you got problems in your personal life? Maybe your job. Maybe you don't feel that your human relations are very good. So although it's called Scientology now, that's where it came from. And they go up a bridge to total freedom to become an operating thetan. I'm going to cut straight through it now, maybe details later. When I did my thorough research and investigations, I found out that one of the key stories told by L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology Dianetics, one of the key stories told is the story that you only get to at the top of the bridge to freedom. You find out about Xenu, Xenu. Xenu, who, along with other operating thetans, are here to purify this planet, to clean it and clear it of negative influence. And all my alarm bells started ringing. And I decided to go back in my mind to Jacqueline Hobbs's Earth Histories. And I felt like, I don't understand how I'm hearing an entire match here. I am hearing about Xenu and the gang that are here to clear the planet of negative influences. And in Jacqueline Hobbs's Earth Histories, I was hearing the same story, that we've all come here to clear the planet of negative frequencies and goings on. And there's a tablet of destiny, and we all knew we were coming. And a massive part of this is a purification. And in Scientology, they call it purification rundown. So before you ever get on the bridge to total freedom, you are known as a pre-clear, an impure one. You're a pre-clear, no problem. You can receive auditing, Dianetics. You will be answering questions about past lives and this life until your psyche is fractured, and you will be deemed to be clear. So I couldn't believe that I was hearing a match. And then when I went to look at the website known as the Purification Space, I think what I noticed was there's a kind of message on the internet, on that website saying, oh, I've removed Earth histories from my library now. I've removed them. And the reason for that is because the past, present, and future is always changing. So, and you kind of know it anyway.
So here we have a humanity with race amnesia, but we all remember everything, right?
Yeah. That vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's a very good reason why I'm saying this strange timing, because having looked so thoroughly into Scientology and listened to the survivor stories of people that have been out for decades but are still in recovery. I was listening to so many survivor stories to see what their stories were and how they detailed what the actual experience was for them of being pre-clears and going up the bridge to total freedom as a operating thetan. There was one guy that was speaking so exceptionally well on it all, and his name is Doug Kramer. And I felt an immediate affinity for Doug on a soul level, because he was someone that was saying, I didn't want to do it. My parents pushed me into it. I drank the Kool-Aid. I behaved like an asshole because I was fully programmed. So I started behaving like an asshole, and I was fully in this, and it was a snitch culture. It was a snitch culture where everyone informs on everyone else and spills out all their guts and their private business. It's kept in files and it's weaponized against people, and it's called fair gaming. And this guy had such depth compassion for everyone that was still in there, including his family. He had no fear because he said his whole life was taken from him. So what was there to lose but to speak out? And he honored the other people that had spoken out before him. So I got in touch with Doug, and I just poured my heart out uncensoredly and said, thank you so much for speaking out, because also you've seen the bigger picture. You've seen the bigger picture. You're talking about planetary lockdown and the cult abuse of that, and the trauma bonding and the trauma abuse. And several times a week, you show up. You're very detailed with your evidence. You speak from the heart. You've made everyone feel welcome. And I've noticed some matches in a cult or a movement or a group, whatever you want to call it, in what I've been in, despite having seen the big picture, and despite feeling like I saw the big picture from childhood, I seem to have got myself involved in what I'm going to call a nature cult that seems to be supporting the United Nations, WEF, Great Reset, Agenda 2030, agenda narrative. And I would really welcome speaking to you. Are you interested? I know you were in the entertainment industry as an actor, and I was in the entertainment industry as one of the musicians that records for the Hollywood films that help program humanity. I'm only coming to terms with the reality of my own incarnation, let alone my latest falling into a cultic group. What do you say? Because you're the only one that's seen through the bigger picture as well. And so Doug and I were becoming friends over weeks and months. He was very busy bringing out his personal experience and soul's truth. So it wasn't like we were on the phone every day, you know, talking about how dreadful everything was. We were really trying to be brief and contextual. It was all moving forward. And we had an hours after loads of messages, you know, we're swapping phone numbers, and I was kind of sort of passionately like this on the phone. I was like, Dog, I can't leave my children in this mess. I can't leave humanity's next generation to go through this as well without doing my best to speak out about this stuff. You know, you've seen the bigger picture. I've stood up for my children. I went into schools. I've lost all my work for speaking out. I don't care. I want to speak out about the children because I can also hear Serge Del Mar is speaking up for the children that are trapped in these Scientology hotels as slaves. So Doug got it. You know, I was able to really tsunami my truth without feeling like I had to be boxed in and careful. And Doug and I had a really great 1-hour conversation on Facebook Messenger where we were gonna put the dates in, like, let's go, let's start this. I really want to hear about your group, Marvin. I've done some research on it. I really want to be able to ask intelligent questions. Yeah. I've looked into it. I've had a good route around. I want to route around a bit more. It certainly sounds very similar to Scientology and Dianetics, the Xenu thing, the Earth histories. So we're going to be getting a date in. So call me back, send me, you know, I said, I'm going to send you a couple of documents of my handwritten stuff saying how I'd like to talk about this, you know, about my love for nature and all things organic and how this is what I thought was going on. And let's look at this together. So he said, great, Marvin, you know, phone me tomorrow, next day, whatever. I said, yeah, Doug, I'm sending it through right now. I'm going to send this through right now. I was all excited, like really excited. Felt like this is a very important part of putting the bigger picture, to acknowledge that the bigger picture on planet Earth is cult dynamics. And although I've been saying that for 4 years, I've been stuck in one myself. Hello? So I sent off my stuff to Doug. Thanked him for speaking out. Waited to hear back from him. Saw that my messages hadn't been picked up on Messenger, just saying, you know, I've sent you the stuff, Saw they hadn't been picked up. And this is in December 2023, guys. Then I started feeling like, kind of like, why isn't he picking up these messages? Is he too busy? Does he not want to hear about it anymore? What's going on? And on a particular day, I started feeling really uncomfortable, like really worried. And I couldn't place what my concern was. Couldn't sleep. I wasn't even thinking like, is Doug all right? I just felt like there's a really odd atmosphere. And still not heard from him. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to go and listen to one of his presentations about cult abuse and the bigger picture. I'm going to go and listen to one of his presentations on YouTube. So I'm going to go and find him. And then I noticed that a Sunday night presentation that should have happened and I should be listening a day later, it was just spinning like this, like saying 3 people waiting. It was like, why? What Where's his show? Why didn't he? What's gone on here? I started looking around, and then I saw that there were other ex-Scientology, they call it suppressive persons TV, because that's what you're called when you leave Scientology, a suppressive person, which matches up with Jacqueline Hobbs's assertions that people that leave the purification space are negative high frequency beings. All I saw was all the channels saying, Doug is missing. Doug is missing. I started listening to some channels. One very strange channel said he's been missing for 3 weeks. And I was thinking, no, he hasn't, because I spoke to him a few days ago. Doug has been missing for 3 weeks. Followed by, of course, everyone attacking this person for saying things, and then him trying to sort of backtrack, and then other channels saying, everyone's looking for Doug. We don't know where he is. People spinning out saying, why isn't anyone going to his home to find out where he is? And other people saying, that's not right. He's a private person. He's a strong man. He knows what he's doing. Leave him alone. So there was a real hoo-ha. And then eventually all these testimonies to Doug's life started coming out within a day or two. That Doug had been found dead, aged 50, just like that. Coroner's report, just like that. Doug had died of heart disease. He was unjabbed. He'd seen the bigger picture. He was speaking about his own life experience in cult abuse. And all of a sudden, we're being told that, yeah, thanks, he's not here anymore. And I was, that didn't feel good either. That didn't feel good either. It's like, what? It's like, how did this happen? Who is anyone going to tell the truth? What is the truth? How do people get to the truth? Why is this so close to me and Doug speaking out about the bigger picture with the nature element? You know, it's like the tying in of Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, purification space. You know, the techniques were all the same. The histories are the same. But this time I've fallen into a nature cult, because he'd said to me, yeah, because it kind of sounds good, doesn't it? Clear the planet. Everyone live in peace, joy, harmony. You know, we want to live in nature. We're organic. We don't want to take any more of this. Of course, of course, that sounds great, doesn't it? It all sounds great. That's what you were getting into. It sounds great. So this didn't feel good. It was like, what very unusual timing that we are just about to speak, that we were becoming friends, and that I had been really upfront with him. I wasn't being cagey. I was like, these are the claims that are said on the website about being an advanced being, a group of 6 consciousness. It's called the purification space. Is that like the purification rundown on the bridge to total freedom? I'm seeing matches, but this is about loving nature and embodying love. Like, you know, it's like we were going to be looking through it at our own pace and sharing our personal experiences and observations and matching similarities, you know, so that other people could have a route around, make their own minds up, get more acquainted with what cult dynamics sound and feel like. And the timing felt very odd. It's like Doug and I have spoken in person now, as in, you know, on the phone.
Yeah.
And the details have gone ahead, and suddenly he's not on planet. And how very strange it was as well, at how very quickly people galvanized to giving their testimonials to Doug on their own YouTube channels. You know, everyone was in shock. Everyone was in shock, but it was very quick. It was like, yes, our beloved Doug, dear Doug, that was mind fucked in Scientology, has passed away at 50. Rest in peace. Beautiful soul. but loads of people that didn't have channels were spinning out in desperate grief like I was. Like, this is so painful. He was doing such good on this planet. He was really doing good.
I can understand the spinning out, you know,
Yeah.
and also the rushing in as well, you know, people wanting to rush in and then move on,
Yeah.
you know, when you haven't actually dealt with the extent of, especially when you've had a personal relationship with someone and you're about to meet and then
Yeah.
they're suddenly not there anymore, you know.
Yeah.
I can get that feeling of, well, now what am I supposed to do
Yeah.
first? And also, like, not I mean, I don't mean just about the work stuff. I mean, I'm talking about what am I supposed to do with an ally of mine not here anymore, somebody I cared about.
Yeah. It was all that, Karleen. There was a lot of fear that came up as well. Like, is he really dead? How did this happen? Did anything bad happen? Because at the same time as well, there is a massive meltdown in the ex-Scientology community going on, like in current time, still going on, where there is starting to be questioning around when people came out of Scientology, did they actually manage to deprogram or not? Oh dear, I'm not sure they did. So they've been covering up stuff, trying to help people financially to, that are living on the streets or whatever. And it's like, so there is a massive meltdown going on in what is seen as the ex-Scientology community, a massive fear and terror and grief about who's trustworthy. And not because there's any feeling of labeling people as assholes, but it's like, how much did you deprogram? How much, are you only slightly bringing out the truth? Are you bringing out 1% of the truth of what actually happened in your real life and what you actually really went through? So,
There's a process though, right?
yeah,
You know, it's like I've been saying with you, it's like people think that you're just going to suddenly wake up and everything's going to make sense and that it doesn't take ages to deal with
yeah,
the
yeah,
dissociative thinking, you know, of like, well, I've been programmed this way, this is my reality, this is the truth, and then
mm,
to find that it's not, you know, even in Scientology or anything like that, you know, the deprogramming doesn't, it's not just something that you're going to get through all in one go.
mm-mm,
You know, it does come in stages, it does come in
mm.
chunks, you know, and then you kind of go, okay, so now I realize that I was also running that program.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, because it really is like you said, it's like once you go in and you clear one, there's another one, and that allows 5 more to pop up around it that try to protect the next program. There's programs around a main program that try to pop up to protect that program being fully, let's just call teased out, to have a good look at it. Let's
Yeah.
have a good look at this one. And many people, it's not just Scientology, that's just the name of one of them, but the techniques and methods and the playbook and the handbook is the same,
Okay.
whether it's that or any other grouping that is running those dynamics. People that are coming out of these things that they've either been in since childhood or even for a short period of time as an adult that's trying to improve their communication or whatever. Some people are saying, it's taken them 10, 15 years to fully let it all come up and be seen for what it is. And that the healing process from it takes a long time in terms of it's not a one size fits all. You're going to be singing, you're going to be dancing, you're going to be sobbing, you're going to be raging, you're going to be investigating what happened to you, what happened to me, what was done to me. I mean, there's a real subtlety here, which I don't like on the planet in general, because of the atrocities going on in the bigger picture. Is one of the mind programmings called "Don't be a victim, don't be a victim." So when you're actually saying, I received this treatment, I've experienced this, I didn't ask for it, it wasn't told to me up front what I was receiving, that actually does mean that I have been in a victim position. I have been victimized. It's what I do with that from there. It's the embodied victim that I'm interested in, which is the truth of this did happen. This is happening. This is painful. This is not what I asked for. I didn't require it, sign up for it. If I had been shown on a piece of paper that that's what I was about to get into, I could have made a choice and walked away. So having embodied that and embodying that, is my journey. That allows me to become a living advocate for truth in human form.
Yes.
And justice. And I'm not talking about according to a court system, because clearly they don't mind about the Killer Plague story and what's happened. I'm talking about a cosmic soul justice. I know what happened. I will speak out about what happened. My life's personal experience is mine. It belongs to me. You don't get to reframe it. You don't get to trample on my boundaries. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to hear me. Stay away if you don't want to hear me. I'm claiming my voice and my life experience. All of it since birth. And I mean all of it. It's not for reframing and repackaging. That's how I feel about it.
And that's how you heal,
Yeah.
right? That's how you heal. Because if we don't start doing that and we whitewash and we go, well, everybody's been through this, everyone's been through trauma. Well, hello, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it acceptable, and it doesn't make it, oh yeah, me too. And that whole fecking movement,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
have to start hearing each other on an individual basis.
Yeah.
And just because your experience may not be like this, right, doesn't mean that someone else's isn't. And having the courage to actually speak your truth and to hold to your experience is really important, because that to me is the way that we teach. That's the way show up for me.
Yeah.
Not listening to somebody sit on a stage claiming that they're this, that, or the other, but being transparent about the experiences that we've had. No matter how dark, deep, dirty, whatever labels that you want to put on it, being transparent.
Yeah. I mean, this is really precious to me too, Karleen. And I've said before in other speakings out that I've been longing for soul intimacy since birth, because I've recognized that there's a serious problem with, there are loads of people calling themselves healers, therapists, spiritual guides, way showers, love and natures. There are loads of human beings that are calling themselves that on this planet. And I know people mean well, but how can we hold space for one another? Going to a healer or a therapist or a way shower or a figurehead that didn't speak out about the killer plague story and didn't stand up. I'm not going to be able to go to that therapist's room and get help because they've already shown me that they either didn't understand the bigger picture or they're too frightened to speak out about it. So how are they going to be able to help me? They're not. What I'm looking for is a friend like you, Karleen. I'm looking for us all to become friends. I'm looking for us all to hold space for one another and with one another without tidying it all away. When you make that phrase, and this is how we heal, that's how I feel it too. The way I see life on planet Earth is we haven't even begun. We haven't even begun. This is our big chance. This is our big chance. It's not just telling the truth with documents and links. Tell the truth about what happened to you. Tell the truth about everything we can see that we know. And it's all going on in here. We're going, they tried to kill the children by jabbing them on the school premises. People are dying because of that. Tell the truth because you can hear it in your head. It's really difficult to claim your voice. It's not easy. We're not out here trying to be stage performers. I want us to hold space with one another as equal souls and say what's happened to each other. Hear one another out. I don't want to perform an audience, false power hierarchy. I want friends in circle together, holding space with one another without trying to fix it and tidy it away too soon. When we start to bring out the trauma of some of the things we've been through on this planet from childhood, no matter what individual traumas there are, which are all different and all meaningful, you cannot get through it in 1 hour Zoom. There has to be space for it to come up and be held in sacred cosmic space. Heard in a big sacred space of silence. The silence that wants to be nurtured and hear it before moving on. It's like music. The note is sounded. It needs an auditorium to be heard.
I'll hug you.
I'm giving me a hug because I got that from your website. I'm holding me. I deserve to hold me through this.
Absolutely, sweetheart.
Even, That's why I feel as well that this phrase, you know, came from me about the cosmic child hearts, because here we are mothering children. You know, it's like we're all souls incarnated into human form. But trying to be there for the younger generation when we can't tell the truth about what's happened to us. What the hell? How the hell do you think we are going to mother the next generation or doula a free future when we can't tell the truth about what happened to us? This is not about finger pointing at other people. It is about saying it happened. Just don't want to let down. Can't let down my children, Karleen. It's not about saving others. It's about telling the truth. It's just that.
Yeah.
I won't betray their souls. I'm not going to do that to my children.
Peace, sweetheart. Do you think we're done for today, sweet?
Yeah, I think I've got enough off my chest, thanks. I mean, this is the most, this is, I don't really want to say this, that when we are going through this trauma, it's visceral. There's a very lovely expression, PTSD. It's just 4 letters, but it's actually being lived. And there is no way that I can, as a normal human being, a soul in incarnated human form, without having someone to space hold and hear me, without therapizing it away, is exactly how we do this with and for one another. When I am alone, processing this through human sounding and dancing, and growing my herbs and walking in nature, being a mother, standing up in truth, do you think I have an ability to howl my eyes out on my own and get this kind of healing, cathartic thing that we've done today? No. I'm busy cleaning toilets, driving children to things, making food, multitasking. What I'm trying to say is we need one another's ear. We need one another's presence. I can't cry alone because it's too frightening to cry alone. I need to be witnessed. That is what I want for humanity. I demand that we are witnessed.
I think that's one of the bravest things to do, love, as well. You know, is to show that vulnerability and the truth of the experience, not to hide it away and be
Yeah,
ashamed of the fact that we are emotional or that we have been victimized or that whatever it is, to be able to be do an expose, right? This is who I am as a being. This is how I am feeling. Now, as I'm going through that healing process, because nobody does that. Nobody really does that. I don't know, that whitewashing thing where we
Yeah.
just go, oh, yeah, no, it's all right. It's fine. How are you
Yeah.
today? I'm fine.
Yeah.
But we're not.
We're not. And we haven't been fine since we got here.
No.
Because our ancestral lineages have gone through the same. The main vibe, frequency, vibration, ambiance, whatever you want to call it, is you must obey anything apart from your own soul. You must obey the healer, the therapist, the teacher, the friend, the lover, the system, the dog, your children. You must obey that. That comes before your soul. That is what we're living on planet Earth. That is what our ancestors lived at some point. Otherwise, how could it have got into this mess?
Yeah.
We weren't all doing kumbaya and shamanic dances around the fire. You know, like in our recent past, in our ancestral recent past, it can't be, or it wouldn't be this mess. We were, and that's another thing. We would know who we were, even on the 3D level. We would be able to say, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, this is the clan I came from. This is who I am. I know my lineage. Why don't we know our lineages?
We've been deliberately uprooted, right?
Yeah. But isn't it interesting that those that are in charge of this planet and tell everyone what to do via their systems, they know their lineages. They know their lineages. They know their family line. They know who's who. They know where they came from, way, way back. They know what they're doing here. They know how they can direct the human slaves, or whatever phrase you could put on it. They've got the systems, they've got the shops, they've got the quote unquote abundance tokens, the monopoly tokens. They've set it up, haven't they?
Yeah, 100%.
I can't go into my family lineage and go, look, you know, look at us, the big banking family. We set it up. Because that's the point. They're doing that and we're suffering. I think that's enough, isn't it?
Okay, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Woo!
Thanks for holding space, Karleen.
Welcome, sweetheart. Thank you for being in the space, for keeping it real, for showing up as you. Okay. So I'm going to cut the recording here. And I hope that anybody who watches it or listens to it gains from our interaction. Not that I spoke very much, but hopefully you gain from it insight and inner standing. All right, lots of love to you all, and I will talk to you more later.
Thanks, Karleen. And I do hope as well, I do hope people can recognize some things I'm talking about in the bigger picture and in their own lives. And I hope it is of benefit, because that's why I speak out too, obviously. Thanks, Karleen.
Welcome, love. Hugs to you too. I'm trying to press the button as I'm holding it. Okay. So catch you all soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.